Hi, my name is Ishan. Welcome back. WordPress 4.1 introduced improvement to internationalization and the user experience of several common tasks and actions. In this video, I will show you what these improvements are and what this means for you as you start using the new version. To start off, let's look at the new internationalization features. This is something that kick in at the very beginning. When you first using WordPress, when you install WordPress from scratch, the first screen you see now with WordPress 4.1 is the language selector. The language selector allows you to either install WordPress in the default language, which is USA English, or you can choose for any number of the language on the drop-down menu. If you make a selection of a different language, let's say Danish, French, and click on the continue button, now it's translate to 4 sets. Then you will get the entire installation process in your selected language. This is a vast improvement from previous version of WordPress, where changes the language of WordPress itself require going into the core files of the application and change it manually. Now, if English is not your first language, you can start off by installing WordPress in your chosen language instead. Alongside the new language selector at the install process of WordPress, we have also an additional feature under setting and general on the backend here. If you scroll to the bottom, you will see we have a new option called site language. This provides a drop down that shows you that language have been installed for your particular version of WordPress. If you install WordPress in a separate language, let's say French or Norwegian, you will see this option in the drop down. If you install in a French and Norwegian, the site language will be set to that language at the start, but you can use the drop down under setting and general to check it back to the English, or if you choose to install other language, you can choose to change it any one of this language. Now, it's important to know that when you change the language of WordPress, what are you changing in the language of the WordPress backend, and if the theme and plugins you are using support the language you choose, then the themes and plugin will also be translated into that language on the backend and on the front end. But this is entirely dependent on the theme and plugin developer. The post and page editor have also gotten a couple of major improvements. Let's take a look at a regular post. I will show you what has changed. You will see when you start using the new feature to expand the editor to master window height, you will no longer want to return to that old way of doing things, but because this simple is better. While we are talking about the post editor, you will also notice that inside my post editor I will YouTube video. This is a new feature in the content editor of WordPress. If I go to YouTube or another provider that give me embed code, YouTube, the mail, the SoundCloud, or another source, I simply copy out the URL up here and paste it into my content somewhere. Let's say right here. WordPress will now go to YouTube, grab the content and install it into my post. Now that's worked for a while in a WordPress, but previous version the box you got in the editor was gray box that just indicated that the video was, but in new 4.1 that actually see the embed content. Here we have the video, and if I click on it, I actually play the video inside my editor before I publish the article. I can also go and edit the embed once. I edit it by simply clicking on the edit button. This take on the insert media panel, and from here I see a preview of the video again, and I see the URL. So if I want to change the URL to something else, I could simply do it here without having to go and in delete media. Speaking of media, the media option in the main menu in WordPress admin show a completely overhauled user experience. Inside the media grid, you can see your media item in a thumbnail grid, so you can easily navigate them. If you go into any single media item, that media item editor will open up in a pop-up model where you can either edit the image directly or edit the image metadata or media item metadata. This model also allows you to get quick navigate between media item. If you want to using the arrow key up here, and you can go in to the view either attachment page or go to the older editor for media item by clicking on the link at the bottom right hand side. If you prefer the old display from the media library, you can still return to the old display simply by clicking the link at the top left hand corner. This brings back the old list type display where you can have a bit more information. For some users that might be more useful. But if you land on this and you realize you like the grid pattern better, you can return back to the new media grid by clicking on the grid link up on the right hand corner in the main menu. I will cover more detail about the new media grid in WordPress Essential Training. The final major improvement in WordPress 4.1 can be found in WordPress Customizer. With each new version of WordPress, we see improvement to the customizer, and you can accept to see more of the core functionality of WordPress being back into the customizer. We move forward with WordPress to 3.9 widgets customizer was added to the customer, but if you try to use that feature, you may remember it was rather clunky. The widgets functionality within the customizer has become completely rewritten from scratch. The new experience is vast improved. When I got into the customizer with current 2015 theme, I can now click on widgets and a panel switch to just show me all the widgets area available in my themes. From here I can open over the widget area, reorganize the widgets that are in here by simply dragging and dropping, and you will see update right here inside the theme as I am doing it. And I can also open any of the widgets, make changes the widget setting. I can remove a widget or can click or add a widgets to open a new panel where I see all available widgets from current installation. From here I can grab any of the widgets and place into the widget customizer. This new widgets customizer is also covered in more detail in WordPress Essential Training. We become accustomed to see new and advanced feature by adding to WordPress. With every new major release, WordPress 4.1 is different. Rather than adding and lots of new fancy features, the core team has focused on improving existing features and especially improving the user experience of those features. This has resulted in a new and more major version of WordPress that is easier to use for everyone regardless of whether or not they speak English or any other language. Now that's what's available in WordPress 4.1, go and up to your own install and get started.